Hello, I have some news for you, and it's quite big news. I am going to England. Well, not just me, my whole family is going to England. My daughter, my wife, and I, we are all going to England. And how long are we going for? We're going for an entire 3 months. Yes, 3 whole months we're going to be spending in England, which is it's a pretty big deal. I mean, traveling to England for any amount of time, like all the way from Japan, I think it's over 6,000 miles or over like 10,000 kilometers. Like it's a huge journey. And we have to change planes once. And then there's the whole traveling with a baby thing to take into account. So it's a lot of work. And when it's 3 months, I suppose it's like even more work because, what have we been doing? Just planning and thinking about this and that and everything. And wow, it's I don't know why, but I keep finding myself incredibly busy lately. It's been one thing and then another thing and then another thing and now this flight. My daughter came along and that turned everything upside down, and then there's all that stuff with my job, which is still ongoing. It's still hasn't really settled down. It's still still putting loads of time into my job. Like working, like the other night I was working till 9 p.m. The other night I was working till 10 p.m. So I just haven't felt like I've had the most free time of late, much free time of late, and then all this planning for the holiday, which has been crazy. I've had to do all kinds of research into all weird things, like, for example, health insurance. I thought that because I'm British, I have free health treatment because we have the NHS in England, the National Health Service. And so when I went back to England last year for 2 weeks, I didn't buy any travel insurance, any health insurance, because I thought, if I need to go to the doctors, I can go to the doctors in England. It's free. I'm British. Don't need to pay for it. Or rather, I've been paying for it all my life. And I still pay these they're called national insurance contributions, like some money that I keep giving to the government. So I thought, that must cover my pension in England. Maybe it covers the health insurance in England. So I'm still paying for something. But I found out I was completely wrong, and I actually don't have any health insurance at all in England. And so the last time I went to England for 2 weeks, I had no health insurance at all, which is incredibly stupid, like a really stupid thing to do. And I had no idea. I really didn't have any idea that I just wasn't covered anymore. Maybe it's a normal thing for most people living in other parts of the world to think about, that don't have a national health service, free national health service. But English people, we're just so used to not paying for any health treatment that we sort of don't really think about it. So that's how that's how I ended up doing something really stupid and going back to England last year without any health insurance. Anyway, I've since found out that was completely wrong, and that's because I've been looking into health insurance for my daughter and my wife. And so I've ended up buying health insurance for the 3 of us for 3 whole months, and it's pretty expensive, to be perfectly honest. It's set me back about £560, I think it was, which, is not a small amount of money. And then there's the flight as well, which I think I got a good deal for the flight. It's still ridiculously expensive because flying is just so ridiculously expensive after the effects of COVID. So the flight set me back around £2,000, and that's for the 3 of us. But my daughter, she doesn't travel for free, but she gets 90% off her ticket. But £2,000. Usually to fly from England to Japan or Japan to England is around it's around £1,200 now for one person. So getting all 3 people for £2,000 was quite a good deal. And it's just like down to luck, I suppose. Like if you're flying on this day, this day's cheaper, and then if you fly on like the day after that, it goes up like another £1,000 or something crazy. It's all over the place, the pricing for flights. So whenever I book flights, I always keep searching around these different days and try and find like the cheapest day to fly on, or cheapest 2 days to fly on. It's a return flight, and then I usually try and book holiday based upon the flight, the tickets. Anyway, I've also had to get my international driving permit sorted out. So I had to go to this like driving center place not too far away from where I live in Japan, and get an international driving permit. And I think that cost about £10. And it wasn't too much effort. We didn't have to wait too long either. But yeah, I've got one now. So I can drive in England. It's really weird. I've been driving in England for, I don't know how long it is. Maybe it's like 20 years or something. And now that I'm living over here, now that I'm living in Japan, I'm no longer a resident. I'm not classed as a resident of Britain anymore, which means I can't. My driver's license is invalid. It's actually expired anyway, so the date has lapsed. But anyway, even if it hadn't, even if it was still, in date, I still wouldn't be able to drive on it. It would be illegal if I did, because as soon as I'm no longer a resident of the UK, I don't have a license anymore. Which to me is a bit weird, because a license is like a qualification. Well, I think it is. You take a test, and then you get a qualification saying, yes, you can drive. And I've driven for 20 years without any problems, so there's more proof that I can drive. But then you leave the country, for even a year or something, and it's like, sorry, you don't have a driver's license anymore. Well, why? I haven't forgotten how to drive just because it's been a year, and I have been driving in Japan as well, so I've still had practice behind the wheel of a car to keep my memory fresh. But no, it's just all gone, which is I don't know. I find it a bit weird the way it works. I would have thought you could have said like, yeah, I used to have a driver's license. I've come back. Can you please issue me a temporary driver's license or something like that? But no. So I've got to do exactly the same thing that a Japanese person would do if they want to drive in the UK. I've got to get this international driver's permit, and then I've got to go to try and hire a car and say like, here, can I hire a car, please? Yes, can I see your license? Well, yeah, it's not a British one. I've got a Japanese license. Show them a Japanese driver's license, which is really weird. And it's not that simple either, because apparently I can only like hire cars from around an airport, and most of the places that you can hire a car from in the UK, they won't let me hire a car because I don't have a proper British license, which is just rubbish, really. So yeah, there's lots of things to think about. There's lots of things to sort out. There's been lots of packing to do. My wife's been thinking about all the things that we need to take for my daughter. I've not really had time to think about packing that much, just because of work, really. Work has just taken over my life of late. It's just been so full on. So yeah, I've got some time left to do some packing. I really need to make sure it's absolutely finished, and then I can spend more time thinking about, concentrating on the journey that's going to come. We are going to an hotel first, so we're going to stop somewhere near the airport. That's just because it's going to. The flight is like an afternoon flight, like midday flight. And it just sounded a bit like too stressful, like trying to like leave really early in the morning, get to the airport, I don't know, say 9 a.m. And we've got about, I think it's about 2 hours to travel to the airport by train, or 1.5 or something like that. Because it's Narita Airport, which is it's not actually in Tokyo, even though it says it's in Tokyo. It's in Chiba Prefecture, but yeah, it's a bit far away from us. So we didn't like the idea of like rushing in the morning to get a flight and doing that with a small child as well, with a baby. No. So we're going to travel down the day before and just like travel down, leisurely. Well, as leisurely as it can be, really, with all those suitcases that we have. We've got 3 suitcases, 3 small suitcases, and 2 rucksacks. And those are the things that come included with your ticket. If you want a normal, like big-sized suitcase, you have to pay, I think it's about £75 twice. Once to take it there and once to come back with the suitcase, which is, that's another lot of money. And that's something that used to be free. It used to be included in the price of the ticket. And the tickets used to be, it used to be around £500. And like I said, they're around £1,200 now. So just crazy inflation. But anyway, we're going down to this hotel, and we're going to take it nice and easy going down there. And then, the next day we can wake up a bit later and, well, not too late because we've got to get to the airport for 9. But, a lot later than we would have woken up if we had to go straight from our house. So, let's just see how it all goes. I can't imagine it at the moment. I think me and my wife, we've both been saying that quite often. Like, just can't imagine how our daughter's going to be on the flight. Can't imagine how she's going to be like in England. And all these, 101 different things that we're not certain about. But on the other side, we're also very much looking forward to introducing my daughter to the rest of my family, my parents, sisters, and their families, and my friends as well. So that'll be really nice. And 3 months is a nice long time to be able to, spend together, spend that time together. So I'm sure we'll go on some adventures here, there, and everywhere. Well, not everywhere, but to different places in England. So I look forward to telling you about those trips. So yeah, I'm going to be recording this podcast from England again after all this time. So yeah, I'm looking forward to parts of it, parts of the trip. I think I'm looking forward to most of it, but just the stuff that's coming next. All the traveling and the stress that can bring. I'm not looking forward to it too much, but I will say that generally I tend to quite like flying. Once I've got through all of the security and everything, and I'm on the aeroplane, then I'm okay. I mean, there's nothing you can do, is there? Really? It's about what? I think it's about 13 hours, and we're going to Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam, and then we're getting a flight from Amsterdam to Birmingham Airport, which is close to where my parents live. So yeah, for you're just sitting in a plane for like 13 hours straight, and there's not much to do. So I suppose in some ways it's sort of a bit relaxing. It's one of the few times in your life where you really, you've got a lot of time, like a whole day, and you've got nothing to do. You can't do anything. You can't go shopping. You can't do any chores. You can't mow the lawn or whatever. It's just, you just sit down and just, watch some films or something. So yeah, sometimes I don't really mind flying that much, but I don't like jet lag. I suffer a lot from jet lag, and as I've said many times before, I can't sleep on planes or trains or in cars or anything like that. So I'm always tired. But it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting. So I look forward to telling you all about it when I next get the opportunity to do so. Okay, until then, I hope you're all well, and hopefully speak to you soon. Bye-bye.